Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online build video with me, Sherman. Today we are taking a look at the Daedric Summoner build. It is a healer build used for PvE in-game in trials and dungeons. It can be used in Overland if you want. It's actually pretty powerful in Overland, a lot more powerful than I expected it to be. But it is a really good build. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stats, shall we? Starting with the main bar, you can see we have 37k magicka, 18k health, 12k stamina with a 1968 spell damage. But we can boost that spell damage by quite a bit with potions and stuff. We can get up to about 2700 spell damage, which is pretty good, and a 41% spell critical. We do have a 15k spell resistance because we are a Breton sorcerer healer. I chose Breton to show that the other races that you can play as healer, along with the other two builds I released. And physical resistance is 9,800 and something. Not good, but still survivable. We are using the Mage Mundo Stone for increased max magicka. We do have Aegis from one of the gear sets we're running, and we are using the Summon Twilight Matriarch pet. Witch Mother's Potent Brew is going to be the food we're going to use, and we are going to use a Power Pot to give us Minor Intellect, Major Sorcery and Major Brutality, or Major Sorcery and Major Magic Recovery, or Magic Recovery, whatever you want to call it. And going and taking a look at those, as you guys can see, Witch Mother's Potent Brew gives us a whopping 3,192 max magicka and 3,511 max health, and magic recovery of 319 for 2 hours. Now you can use the Clockwork Citrus food, which gives you the same thing, but it gives you health recovery as well, which you don't really need, but you can use that food. It's actually a little bit better in stats, so it will take your stats up just a tad bit, but this is like the perfect amount right here for stats for this type of build. So looking over here at the gear, we are running a 2-piece Earthgore set. Earthgore is a good set. It's not a great set. And when I say it's a good set, it's a good set. It does give you, when you heal a friendly target, you have a 50% chance to conjure a pool of quenching blood underneath them, which soaks up an enemy placed effect instantly and heals all friendly targets. So it has a cleanse on it. It has a massive heal over 6 seconds, but the cooldown on it is really, really bad. Most encounters in the game don't last that long. So 35 seconds is a long cooldown, but it is a really good set to use, and it does give you 2% healing done. The next set we're using is the main go-to set in the next update. You can still use Spell Power Cure in its place if you want, but that is going to be the perfect Olorim set, and this set is not... It's hard to get, but it's also easy to get because it comes in 2 types. It comes in an imperfect version and a perfect version. If you're using the imperfect version, you will have a 36,000k stamina, which is still good for magicka for in-game. You just lose that 5-piece. But the thing is, on this setup, this setup's just really powerful. The Major Courage on the 5-piece bonus that this gives you lasts for 42 seconds because of the other set we're running, and it gives your group weapon and spell damage of 258. So like I said, you can still run this setup if you want, or you can run Spell Power Cure. Either one is going to be good still in the in-game. Just remember, this applies to 12 players, while Spell Power Cure only applies to 6. So both players have to be running Spell Power Cure, or both healers, in order to get its effect. In this case, only one healer has to run this. The other setup we're running is Jorvold's. Jorvold's is it's great for this and for Warhorn. So it makes it really effective for the healers to run Warhorn with this, and then also with this for that Major Courage in the in-game. So on the gear, we are running 4 Divines on the smaller pieces, and on the big pieces, we're running all infused with Tri-Stats. On the smaller ones, we are running Max Magicka Glyphs. On the jewelry, we are running 3 Arcane Jorvolds with spell damage, all spell damage, and then on the weapons, we are using a Jorvold's Healing Staff, Resto Staff, with a Weakening Enchant, And on the other bar, we are running Jorval's Lightning Staff with a that's charged with a shock enchant. This way we get better uptimes of the off balance effect, and it just works out better in the long run to have a charged staff. All right, so moving on to the the skills. Make sure you get all your class passives, guys, because you're going to need them. Onto your weapon stuff, make sure you get all the destruction staff passive, restless staff passives. And on armor, make sure you fill out all the light armor passives. You don't really need the medium ones, but I go ahead and fill them out anyways. And the heavy armor ones I fill out. You really only need Juggernaut from heavy armor, but I fill out the rest because I do like getting those extra resistances. You can be a vampire with this, but it's not necessary. It helps with the magic recovery. Moving on to the guild skills. Fighter's Guild, you can go with the Intimidating Present, but you definitely want to banish the Wicked Mage's Guild. You can get Persuasive Will. You're not going to be using Inner Light with this or Mage Light at all. You don't need it. Psijic Order, you can use Min Spirit, and honestly, I find Min Spirit to be a really good one to use on the back bar, but unfortunately, the end game's all about maximizing DPS, so I do use Dark Conversion instead. I'll get to the reasons why in a minute. And then, but Psijic is a really good one, the Mending Spirit. Because what this does is that whenever you heal an ally using this ability, because this is a thing that you turn on and you just leave it on, because you can still activate all the other abilities on your bar. You just can't light attack and heavy attack for resource return with this. So that can be kind of bad. The other nice thing is when you block and you have this active, if you have all of these passives, you can actually get a shield when using it. Anytime you channel the heavy attack is a channel, so you get 30% damage reduction. It's a really nice mitigating thing, and it's very powerful. Probably the most powerful heal in the game. So, and I say the most powerful heal in the game because I'll just show you what I mean by that. So we're going to go ahead and activate it with our potion. This is a light attack heal. As you can see, it healed him for 3,000, 5,000. And then if I channel heal him, I can heal up to 12,000 health per second. And if I have both of them going, I can just pretty much... if I have both going, I can pretty much just keep a person alive. And if you look at my magic use and recovery, it goes down and shoots up constantly. So I can sit like this for a little bit, let it go, and use other abilities. So it's a really nice ability that you can use if you want to. And I'll leave that up to you. On the Undaunted, make sure you get both Undaunted passives. Alliance War, you can take the support skills, Efficient Purge, and Replenishing Barrier. And you can put Replenishing Barrier on the front bar with the Efficient Purge here. That is completely up to you. I'm going to go back to this, and I'll explain why I have this here. It's mainly for a passive, guys. This one, Exploitation. When you use a dark magic ability, you give your group major proficiency or minor proficiency, increasing their spell crit. This also applies to you as well, so it makes your heals better, because you can crit heal a little bit better. Racials, make sure you fill out all your racials. And then on the craft skills, you want to make sure you get medicinal use from alchemy, and provisioning, you want to get gourmand and connoisseur. These just make your foods last longer, and then the alchemy makes your potion cooldowns better. So now that we've seen that, let's go ahead and go over the skills on the bar. Starting with the main bar, we do have Healing Springs here. This is a really good heal, and plus anytime you heal friendly targets up to 3, you get magicka back, so you basically reduce the cost of this by a lot. And being a Breton and having the Sorc passives and the Dark Magic Tree, you get an 8% reduced cost to magic abilities, along with the light armor passives of another 10%. So you actually get an 18% reduced cost in magic abilities, which makes them really, really good for this. So this is a good heal. Next we have Combat Prayer. This is for the heal, and then the buffs that it gives minor berserk, minor resolve, and minor ward, so you keep everyone's physical and spell resistance up pretty much non-stop, and you give them minor berserk, increasing their damage done by 8%. Next, we have mutagen. This is a very powerful heal over time. If somebody's below 20% health, though, it will give them an instant heal, and it removes a harmful effect. We don't have purge or cleanse with this build, but you can if you wanted to. The next ability we have on our bar is Empowered Ward. We have this here for two reasons. One, it's probably the most powerful damage shield any one class can have, but this also applies to our pet. So when I cast this, you can see the pet also gets the damage shield, and the damage shield is bigger than its health. So this thing goes up to basically having a 30k health pool. And if you can keep it up enough, yeah, your pet should not die in a trial at all. Alright, so very, very powerful damage shield. We've made that clear. The next one is Twilight Matriarch. The other thing that's nice about this is when you cast this, you also grant minor intellect to your nearby allies, increasing magic recovery by 10%. And that also applies to you. So you go to 2,777, and then if you have your potion going with that, you actually go to 2,347. So really powerful combo with the Empowered Ward. The next ability, of course, is our Twilight Matriarch. This one has a very powerful heal. As you can see, it heals itself and up to 2 other friendly targets for 8,438. It also does a little bit of damage, so it's kind of nice to have in your group. The next ability we have is Absorption Field. Now this one's really good because this one creates a magic suppression, instantly removing all area of effect abilities. Enemies in the globe are stunned for 12 seconds, and then enemy players are silenced rather than stunned. So this is just a really good, powerful ability, okay? On top of that, anyone inside the globe, your allies, are healed. Or are healed for so much. And it lasts for the duration of the 12 seconds. So every 0.5 seconds that this is up, you heal for 1,629. This is actually something that you do use in some trials and in a lot of dungeons. So this is something you're going to be using a lot in those cases. Moving to the back bar, we do have Dark Conversion. But like I said, Dark Conversion can be swapped around along with this ability as well. So those are going to be your 2 floater spots where you can float in abilities and stuff if you need them. But the rest of it you're really going to want to leave alone. Dark Conversion basically allows you to swap stamina for health and magicka. So this can help keep you alive, and it can help keep your resources coming in. But it's not really needed, trust me. This would be better if we were using that Mind ability from the Psijic Order, but we're not, so... The next ability we have on our bar is Lightning Flood. This is just a dot, and that's it. It's just an additional dot and a synergy. So, the next ability we have is Blockade of Storms. This does off damage. You can also apply off balance since we're using a charged Resto Staff, or Lightning Staff. We can get that proc of the enchant easier from shock, and then set the enemies off balance easier. Excuse me. Moving on, we are using Energy Orb to give resources back. We're also using it as a heal over time. And then, of course, we have to have our Twilight Matriarch again on the bar. And then, last but not least, is Aggressive Warhorn. This gives your group max magicka, max stamina, and health by 10% for 30 seconds. It also applies Major Force, increasing critical damage done by 15% for 13.3 seconds because of Jorvolds. It is just, like, overall really good setup here. So I am going to show you a little bit about this build real quick before we get into the CP so you guys can see for yourselves this stuff. So the nice thing about Flood Lightning is if I hit this guy with a light attack, right, he gets concussed and all that, and then I hit him with Lightning Flood, you'll see that circle that just appeared. That is the buff for the Olorim. That's the buff that gives you the weapon damage thing. So you can use this to apply that to your allies. On top of that, you can also use your Wall of Elements. So those two abilities can apply that effect, as you can see here. It just applied it. It applies it at the far end, though. So don't use your Wall of Elements to apply it. Use things like this to keep that applied. So you can do things like that, and then keep the circle close to you. This will also apply that effect. Your healing springs, your combat prayer will also apply it. So just showing you that with the Olorum set. Now the other thing is that when you have your pet up, like I said, you can activate its other ability, and it does heal for quite a bit. 14k. So let's go ahead and take a look at our CP. So going into our CP tree, we are going to start with the red tree. We have 66 in the Ironclad. This reduces damage taken from direct damage attacks by 22%. We have 43 in the Hardy, 43 in the Elemental Defender, both of these giving us a 10% damage reduction. We have 56 in the Thick Skin, giving us 20% damage, reduced damage from damage over time effects. 2 in the Light Armor Focus, and then 40 in the Bastion. We don't have anything in the Quick Recovery. We're not Argonian, so we don't really need it that much. Over here we have 23 in the Warlord, 25 in the Sprinter. Both this one gives us 10% break free cost. This gives us 15% reduced sprint cost. Into the middle tree we have 75 Arcanist, 76 Arcanist, 76 Tenacity. This gives us 14% more magic recovery, and this gives us 14% more magic return on our fully charged heavy attacks. And with using a Resto Staff, we can get a massive amount of resources back. Moving on over here, we have 23 in the Shadow Word, reducing our block cost by 10%, 26 in the Tumbling, reducing our dodge roll cost by 11%, and then 1 in the Befoul. If you wanted to, you could take from some of these other things and this 1 Befoul and put more into Tumbling or Shadow Ward. It's up to you. And then moving into the blue tree, we have 76 in the Bless. This increases our healing done by 14%, 56 in the Elfborn, increasing critical healing with magic abilities by critical healing and damage by 20%. 43 in the Elemental Expert, increasing Flame Frost, Shock, and magic damage by 10%. And then 1 into Spell Erosion, because we really didn't have any place to put it. Moving over here, 40 in the Master at Arms, increasing our damage done with direct damage attacks by 16%. And then, of course, 34 into Thaumaturge, increasing our damage done with damage over time effects by 14%. This is just a nice spread out, so you can still get damage out of your class, still get damage out of your abilities, those kind of things, and then your heals are just going to hit for a lot more with this. The Daedric Summoner isn't one that I personally like as a healer. It's good, but it's not great, because you do have to use a pet, and the pet has a tendency to die quite a bit unless you are using your Empowered Ward a lot. If you're using Empowered Ward a lot, you can keep your pet and yourself alive really easily, and you can safeguard your group with things like Mutagen, Healing Springs, Combat Prayer, your pet, your orbs. You have the 2 lightning things, and if you get low on resources, just use Dark Spirit, because our Dark Conversion, you're going to get a lot of magicka back, and you're going to spend stamina to do it. And with the 12k stamina, you can do quite a bit. You can also block attacks, dodge rolls, things like that with the the reduced cost, and the bigger pool allows you to do it a little bit more on the stamina side. But that's pretty much it for the Daedric Summoner, guys. I hope you guys like it. I have kind of enjoyed playing around on the build. I didn't really use it in much of anything other than a few dungeons, like City of Ash, or City of Ash. Yeah, City of Ash 2, Cradle of Shadows, and White Gold Tower. I tested it in those 3 to make sure it worked. We ran at White Gold Tower. It was kind of funny because we obliterated it. Me and the group I was in, it was like a speed run. And then when I played this in the Cradle of Shadows, this thing just blew that. I mean, this thing, I didn't take any damage. I didn't get a chance to try it in any trials, but it is a trial setup, so it should work in trials pretty well. If you wanted to drop the pet, you can, and then you could put something like Overload on your bars, so you have 3 bars and you have 3 extra slots for healing, so it's but Sorcs don't have a lot of heals anyways, so it's kind of useless. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with the Sorc healer that makes them pretty OP. But that's pretty much it for the build, guys. I hope you guys like it. If you did, you can hit that like button. And if you guys want to see more build videos by me or other videos by me, you can hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in-game. Bye.